Hi, this is Sherry. Welcome to my journey in clay. Today we're going to make a Christmas ornament that is simple, but you can personalize it to make it special. This is an example of the ornament we're going to make. We have a gingerbread man and a snowman, and I'll show you some close-ups of what these look like when you put the photo inside. The tools that we need are really minimal this time. You need a cookie cutter shape of your choice. I have a gingerbread man. I also have, I'm not going to demonstrate all these, but I also have some snowman ornaments and even a teddy bear ornament. So you need your ornament, then you're going to need a way to make a hole at the head that is smaller, slightly smaller than the head of the on the ornament. Clay, of course, that's rolled out to a 1/4 inch or maybe even a little less thick. Optional is something that you can squeeze some slip out with, but you don't, this is optional because if you don't have something like that, then you can just use underglaze to decorate it, because it's also going to be simple to decorate. So let's get started. What I'm going to demonstrate today is the gingerbread cutout. Let me move that camera. Here's my clay, and I'm going to use a piece of handy wrap or plastic wrap when I make my cutout. And what this does is it keeps the edges a little bit smoother. You don't have to do quite as much cleanup. So I'll take this slab of clay. I usually do a couple at a time because it just makes it a little bit easier, sort of like an assembly line. I push pretty hard down on this, and sometimes I'll even take my roller just to make sure it goes all the way through. So I'll do that for as many as I can make out of this slab of clay. And I also pick up the wrap each time because what I found is that if you keep doing it, it has a tendency to sort of stretch and make little lines. I have 5 gingerbread men. I neglected to say at the beginning, you don't have to have a cookie cutter shape, but we are going to stand this on something, so you want some type of a shape. I have an oval shape that I'm going to use. You could also use a circle shape or square, you know, whichever. And for this, I'm not going to use the plastic wrap because I'm going to put a little bit of texture on this. So I'll cut 5 of these. So here we have our 5 gingerbread men. We have our 5 stands for them. And as usual, I seem to always make it more complicated than what it needs to be. For these stands, I want to put some texture on it because it keeps me from having to smooth all these sides. So in this case, I have a brick. You can just use a rock, for example. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to texture it, put a little brick, and then I'm going to go around the sides. And then that way I don't have to do anything else to it. It's good to go. So I'm going to show you that again. Put it on the brick, give it some texture, and then go around the side so that I don't have to smooth it. If you don't have, obviously, if you don't happen to have a brick plaster mold hanging around, You can take a rock and just use a rock and give it some texture. So I'll take this, go around the sides. There we go, same thing. So it doesn't matter, just something to give it some texture. As I said, what that does is makes it so you don't have to smooth all of the edges. Just saves a little bit of time. Now that we have these all cut out, our next step is to make a hole for the head. This is where a photo is going to come through. So I have a round cutter. You do need to have some type of a cutter to make this opening. Now you notice I'm not using the plastic for this, and the reason for that is because I found that when you use the plastic for it, it makes little lines around the inside. It just doesn't work as well. So this seems to do the job. This clay is just a little bit, it's not quite dry enough. So you can see I'm having to dig out the clay each time I punch a hole there. I should probably let it dry a little bit more, but it's kind of a rainy day, a rainy, wet day here in Maryland, and I don't want to wait. So I think we'll be good. Next step is to take each of these, gently pull it up, and you want to just smooth around the edges. Now, you can smooth with your fingers. You can try smoothing with a piece of plastic. Let me get another one here. You can take the plastic wrap, put your finger on it, and then just smooth around like that. I don't find that, I mean, it works okay, but I find that my finger seems to be good enough. So I'll smooth around the edges of each of these. I'll do the rest of them later. Let me go ahead and show you this. So here we have our little gingerbread man, and a little more smoothing. We will scratch the bottom of his feet here where it's going to be attached. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some slip to decorate. However, you don't have to do it this way. What you can do is wait for it to get at least leather hard, or you could even bisque it first, and then you can just use white underglaze. It's really, it's just fine to do it that way. It's just, this gives it a little bit more depth is all. So I'm going to just put a couple little buttons down here. A little bit of decoration, as if I were actually decorating a cookie. I'll take my gingerbread man. I could scratch this, but it's pretty pretty wet as it is. Then get a brush. A little bit of slip, put on the feet here. And gently, without touching the white, attach. Now, as I said, in this case, it's probably a little bit too wet. I should probably wait for it to get a little bit harder. I might have to watch this as it dries. But that's it. Is that not easy? And then what you'll do is, here's another interesting thing actually. Let me move this camera so you can get a better angle. The two things. First, this is a close-up of the completed gingerbread man. And you can see, got my grandson's face in there, one of my grandsons. And what I've done is just printed a picture out, made it to be a size that will fit so that his face is in here, and just glue it on the back. That's it. But here's another interesting thing. These, I did do a different size base, but these, you can't see, let me, gosh, touch the white part. Just want to show you the difference in size. Look at that. You know, clay shrinks a lot. Here's a close-up of the gingerbread man with a hole in his head. And this is really all that you need to do. If you don't use the slip, you can just use white underglaze. You can use that when it's leather hard, or you can wait until after you bisque it and then do the white underglaze for the eyes and the buttons and decorations. And then all you need is a coat of clear. So it's pretty simple. Once it's fired, I'll show you this completed one again. Once it's fired, in this case I put holes on the sides to hang it. I wasn't really happy with that. I would say if you want to hang it, you could put a little hole at the top. In fact, I might do that for one of these, but there's not a lot of space for it, to be honest. But you can see the back of this. I printed the picture, sized it appropriately, and then just glued it on. So it makes a really, you know, personalized decoration, really cute, I think. And same thing with the snowman. Only difference here, besides a different grandson, is that I just used the black glaze to do the buttons, and I used white clay instead of brown clay. So this one is actually almost easier because there's even less decoration, and then again just clear. So in the description I'll put the size that you want to make your photo so that you can do that. All right, thanks for watching.